Hey guys, the worst winter is still ahead for much of the United States as an intense polar vortex prepares to unleash a brutal blast of Arctic air across the country. This cold front is expected to send temperatures plummeting to some of the lowest levels in years, with record-breaking cold stretches across multiple regions. In addition to the extreme cold, a major storm system that is rapidly intensifying will bring a wide variety of weather impacts, ranging from powerful thunderstorms and severe weather outbreaks to heavy snow and flash flooding. As the storm system takes shape over the weekend, it will affect millions of people, causing widespread disruptions and potentially dangerous conditions. Some areas are expected to receive anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of snow, while others will be pummeled with severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging winds, large hail, and even the threat of tornadoes. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Right now, the storm is already making its presence felt along the West Coast, with rain and snowfall pushing inland. Over the past 24 hours, significant rainfall has been recorded across California, with some locations receiving between 5 and 7 inches of rain. The precipitation has already triggered flash flooding concerns in some low-lying areas, and there's even been a brief waterspout sighting off the coast of Southern California, which may have briefly touched the ground. As the storm system continues to make its way eastward, it is expected to gain strength, eventually bringing a massive weather event by the weekend. By Saturday and Sunday, this storm will progress into the Midwest, then track eastward through the Ohio Valley and eventually into the East Coast. Along the way, it will bring a mix of conditions, including heavy snow in the Midwest, widespread flash flooding, and a major threat of severe thunderstorm. The storm will also coincide with the arrival of an Arctic air mass, which will plunge much of the country into a deep freeze, bringing some of the coldest weather seen in years. Next week, the Arctic air will surge southward, affecting the Great Plains, Midwest, and Northern Rockies. For many of these areas, the temperatures could drop by as much as 40 to 60 degrees below the normal winter range. Some places could experience temperatures dipping to as low as 30 degrees below zero, with wind chills making it feel even colder. This extreme cold has the potential to shatter long-standing temperature records, making next week a potentially dangerous period for anyone unprepared for the brutal cold. By Tuesday and Wednesday, the Arctic blast will start moving eastward, affecting regions such as the Ohio Valley and parts of the Northeast, in the Midwest and Northern Rockies. The cold will persist, likely lasting through much of the week. For many places, this cold snap could continue for an extended period of time. And although there's some indication of a gradual warming trend by the end of February, it's unclear just how much relief will come in the following weeks. The prolonged cold will strain energy systems, and it's possible that power outages could affect large areas due to high demand for heating and the potential for infrastructure damage. While the Arctic cold will be gripping much of the country, areas further east and south will face a different set of challenges, particularly those in the path of the storm system that's set to bring heavy snow and severe weather. In the Midwest, particularly in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and northern Illinois, snow will start accumulating rapidly, with some locations expecting up to 12 inches of snow. In Michigan and parts of Wisconsin, snow could blanket the area in amounts ranging from 4 to 8 inches, while areas further east like Ohio, northern Indiana, and parts of Illinois will likely see 2 to 5 inches. The Northeast will bear the brunt of the snowstorm, especially in upstate New York, where between 10 and 15 inches of snow are expected. Northern New England is also likely to see significant snow accumulation, with areas like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine looking at totals of 6 to 12 inches. Other areas, including central and southern New England, will see lighter snow, usually between 2 and 5 inches, while parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Long Island could experience just a dusting up to 3 inches. The snow won't be the only concern for these regions. Freezing rain and ice accumulation could become just as problematic, if not more dangerous. Swath of freezing rain is expected to extend from the Appalachian Mountains all the way up to New England, and this could create hazardous conditions for travel, especially on untreated roads. Although the ice accumulation will likely remain light, with most areas seeing only a light glazing, some areas, particularly in southeastern New York and northeastern Pennsylvania, could accumulate up to 1/4 of an inch of ice, which could lead to power outages, fallen tree limbs, and other disruptions. Power lines in these areas may be vulnerable, and travel will be nearly impossible in the worst hit locations. Meanwhile, the southern part of the country will see a different type of weather event unfolding. As the storm system moves eastward, it will encounter warm, moist air flowing northward from the Gulf of Mexico. This interaction will prime the atmosphere for severe thunderstorms, and a significant outbreak of severe weather is expected to unfold across the southeast. states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky will be under heightened risk for damaging winds, large hail, and tornado. Some long-range forecast models even suggest the possibility of strong or long-track tornadoes in places like central Mississippi and southwestern Tennessee, as well as parts of Alabama and the Florida panhandle. Thunderstorms will begin to develop Saturday afternoon with the risk of severe weather intensifying into the evening. A large squall line will form from Kentucky all the way down to Louisiana and southeastern Texas, bringing widespread damaging winds and tornadoes to those areas. The threat of supercells, isolated thunderstorms that can produce more intense tornadoes, will be particularly high in some of these regions. And if they develop, the tornadoes could be especially destructive. Severe weather threat will continue into Sunday morning when parts of Alabama, Georgia, and Florida will be affected by the storms. These areas will face the risk of tornadoes as well as strong winds and large hail. By this point, the snow and freezing rain will still be ongoing further north, creating a complicated and hazardous weekend weather scenario. Flash flooding will also be a major concern, particularly in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas. These areas will likely see 2 to 5 inches of rain, which could lead to flash flooding, especially in regions with poor drainage or already saturated ground. Other parts of the southeast will likely see widespread rainfall amounts of 1 to 3 inches, adding to the risk of localized flooding. But that's not all this storm has in store. The most concerning part of this system is its potential to bring severe weather, including tornadoes, from about 3 p.m. to midnight tomorrow. The warm sector of this storm will spark severe thunderstorms across the southern U.S., particularly in areas like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Tornadoes are a very real possibility, with the highest risk areas being along the mid-Mississippi River Valley, where there's a 10 chance of tornadoes. The storms will bring damaging winds of up to 60 to 70 MP, and it's likely we'll see widespread severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. The storms will move eastward quickly. So if you live in cities like Memphis, Jackson, or Birmingham, be prepared for dangerous conditions from late afternoon into the evening. The timing of this storm is critical, as the strongest winds and most intense storms are expected between 3 p.m. and midnight. Squall line will likely bring a strong line of thunderstorms capable of producing damaging winds and embedded tornadoes. So if you live in any of the affected areas, it's important to stay informed and have a plan in place. The potential for tornadoes in this system is one of the most concerning aspects, and it could bring significant damage to affected communities. While severe weather will be the most immediate concern, the storm is also expected to bring heavy snow to parts of the northern U.S. Places like Michigan, upstate New York, and northern New England are bracing for significant snow accumulation, with some areas in Michigan expected to receive more than 10 inches of snow. This snow will be heavy and wet, leading to hazardous travel conditions and potentially causing power outages. In addition to the snow in the north, we can expect freezing rain and sleet to impact parts of the Midwest, making for even more dangerous travel. In the coming days, as the storm continues its march eastward, we'll see widespread snow from the Great Lakes to New England, and travel will be difficult, especially in areas already dealing with snow from earlier in the season. And the storm's impact won't stop there. While we're still dealing with this storm system, the next major weather event is already on the horizon. By the middle of next week, another large-scale winter storm is likely to develop, and it could bring more snow and ice to the southern U.S. and the East Coast. The storm is expected to bring snow as far south as Oklahoma City and Little Rock, with severe weather returning to places like Houston and New Orleans. As it moves east, the storm could become a classic East Coast nor'easter, bringing heavy snow and freezing rain to cities from the mid-Atlantic New England. Although it's still early to make precise predictions, this storm looks like it could be a significant one, especially for those in the south and east. The mid-Atlantic and northeast could be in for a heavy snowstorm, and it could also bring disruptive travel to major cities like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. So while this current storm is making headlines, we should also be ready for another major winter event in the coming days. Looking beyond next week, it's important to keep in mind that winter isn't finished yet. Even though we're approaching the tail end of February, we still have a few weeks of winter to go, and this could mean more winter storms, especially for areas in the central and eastern U.S. Temperatures are expected to remain below average in these regions through February 23rd, and there's a good chance that more snow and ice will follow. The cold air isn't backing down just yet, and the storm systems that are developing right now are just a preview of what's to come. So while we might be hoping for a warm up soon, it's clear that winter is sticking around for a little while longer. In the meantime, we've got a lot of weather to track. The current storm is bringing all kinds of conditions, from severe thunderstorms to flooding and heavy snow. and it will continue to cause problems for many parts of the country. Tomorrow, the threat of severe weather is especially high. So make sure you're keeping an eye on your local forecast and weather alerts. This storm is one to take seriously, and it's going to have a significant impact across the central, southern, and eastern U.S. If you live in a flood-prone area or in the path of these severe storms, now is the time to get ready. And as always, stay tuned for updates and be prepared to take action if necessary. The weather is unpredictable, and the storm system is a reminder that we still have a lot of winter left to go. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to check the forecast often as things unfold.